Thank you for listening to this introduction to the Council's Project Grants program. I'm Lauren Kushnick, Manager of Grants and Technology at the Council, and I'm here with our Grants Assistant, Kate Sidley.
Hi, this is Kate Sidley, and I want to let you know if you have any questions at all regarding our grants programs or anything contained in this webinar, you can always contact me and Lauren at our shared email address grants@nyhumanities.org or by calling us at 212-233-1131.
In today's webinar, I'll be walking us through an overview of the Council, the different kinds of grants programs, and key aspects of our project grants in particular.
And then I'll take you through our online application. And of course, if you have any questions after this presentation, please do feel free to contact us or set up an appointment to go over details of your own project application with us.
As you may know, the New York Council for the Humanities is the state affiliate of the National Endowment for the Humanities. Our mission is to help New Yorkers to become thoughtful participants in their communities by promoting critical inquiry, cultural understanding, and civic engagement. I encourage all of you to browse a full list of programs and events happening near you on our website at nyhumanities.org. One of the most common questions that we hear at the Council is, what are the humanities? For us, the humanities help us in our quest to answer another question: what does it mean to be human? Broadly speaking, the various disciplines of the humanities help us to examine what we create, what we debate, what we believe, and what we do. The Council helps us to achieve our mission and explore and present the humanities in New York State in two ways: through our programs, which are developed for adults, families, and youth, and through our grants that support projects developed by organizations like you, both large and small. First, let's take a look at our programs. We have designed a range of signature programs along an audience engagement scale of exposure, engagement, and deep engagement. Our signature programs include exposure programs like our Lecture Bureau, also known as the Speakers in the Humanities program, and its spin-off for school audiences called Speakers in the Schools. Engaging programs include the one-off community conversations that help organizations facilitate meaningful discussions around issues like democracy, service, and immigration in their communities. Deeply engaging programs build a sense of community, usually over time, through multiple sessions. One example of this program is Together Book Talk for Kids and Parents, which uses a thematic book list and a dual facilitation model to help kids and parents connect over books. Please visit our website to learn more about all of these exciting programs. But we're here to talk about grants. The New York Council for the Humanities funds projects that use the humanities to engage people in analyzing issues and taking part in the meaningful exchange of ideas and opinions. The Council does this in two ways: through planning grants, which, as the name suggests, helps organizations with the planning of their public programs by supporting meetings, front-end evaluations, brainstorming, and research. Through our project grants, the Council helps organizations to make a public program happen. Once you know when, where, and what exactly your public programs will look like, you can apply for our project grants. Both applications are accepted throughout the year on a rolling basis. In addition, any tax-exempt organization is eligible to apply. So keep that in mind as you consider whether a planning or a project grant is the way to go with Council support. The first example I'd like to talk about is the Flushing Council on Culture and the Arts recent planning grant for the World at Play. This planning is for a 2014 exhibit exploring the role that soccer plays in the Flushing community and beyond, which will be held in conjunction with the 2014 World Cup. The Council loved both the concept for this planned project and their strong community partnerships. The topic has strong humanities content, is timely, and will definitely resonate with many local residents. They have a smart collaboration with CUNY Queens in particular, and a solid plan in place, which is well underway. Their goals were achievable, material plan was smart, and the thematic focus is thoughtful and will do much to ground the presentation in the humanities. Another example for a strong project grant was the 2014 Cabin Fever Sunday Lecture Series funded at the Adirondack Museum. This series of lectures is designed to engage Adirondack locals in historic programming during the winter months when the museum is closed. This project covers a great range of humanities themes for a rural, underserved community that has limited wintertime activities in cultural organizations. This is the second time the museum has come to us, and they're offering different topics, which makes their proposal continue to remain relevant and responsive to the community's interests. If your organization received grant support for a previous series, but is returning to that format with different themes, you are still eligible for grant support from the Council. Each year, the Council offers different special initiatives based on needs and historic commemorations that come up in New York State history. Stay tuned for more information about this year's initiatives. Council grants share the same grant guidelines. At their core, we have the following goals: to encourage informed public discourse in communities across the state, to help New Yorkers deepen their understanding of the world around them, and to actively engage New Yorkers with issues and ideas. For examples, visit our Pinterest page or website, and keep in mind the scale of engagement begins with exposure or exhibitions to deeply engaging programs like discussions. All projects supported by the Council must be intended for and open to a general public audience. These audience goals are shared across all of the Council's grant programs, from planning processes to implementation. When it comes to general public audiences, we're talking about non-specialists, people who can benefit from a program without having prior knowledge or information. Participation also cannot be limited to members of a particular group or organization type. So keep that in mind when you're considering what might be the best fit for a Council grant. On the application, we get at this question through the phrase, "Who is your program designed for and why?" That's your opportunity to make a case for how your program is going to serve the general public. Each round, we also prioritize support for projects that serve people for whom such opportunities are rare. We understand that many New Yorkers do not have regular access to public humanities programs, and this can be for a variety of reasons, from geography, income, age, or ethnic backgrounds. That's why we prioritize projects that specifically engage these underserved audiences. You can also address access when it comes to the cost. We recommend that the cost for all programs should be around that of a movie ticket to make sure as many people as possible can afford to attend your program. The project team is the key group of individuals that contribute to your project, and they must include at least one member with demonstrable humanities expertise. By that, we're talking about individuals that are familiar with the topic, deeply engaged with it, but don't necessarily have a PhD or a university or college affiliation. That can include local history experts, culture bearers, or more traditional scholars if you have them and are familiar working with them in your community. So at least one of these humanities individuals should be affiliated with your project team and indicated in your application. Be sure to not only identify their name and their role, but how they're contributing to the project in as much detail as possible in the question. Describe your project team. Should you run into any word count restraints, feel free to attach additional information to your application. Keep in mind, the participation of all team members must be confirmed at the time of your application. For a complete list of the Council's recent grantees, visit our website. Here, you can browse our grantees by year, or using our interactive map, you can see where organizations are located around the state. In previous years, you can also browse by organization type or region. This is on nyhumanities.org/grants/awards/2014. Now we're going to walk through the reminders for all of our grant programs.
Hi, this is Kate. I'm going to walk you through some reminders of how to prepare for your project grant application. Project grants are available up to $3,000. These are also one-to-one matching grants. Your match can be a combination of cash or in-kind, or one of either. It is important to remember that if you are requesting $3,000, your match must at least equal $3,000. We occasionally get asked if NEH funding can be used as a match. The answer is no, and the reason for this is that we at the Council receive some funding from the NEH. Now, if your organization receives funding from the NEH, that's okay. Just don't count that as part of the match which you detail in your project grant application. Eligibility. Just a reminder that any tax-exempt organization in New York State is eligible to apply for our project grants. However, organizations may only receive one of each type of grant per calendar year. A planning grant is not necessary to receive a project grant. However, if you do receive a planning grant and decide to take it into the project grant phase, that is absolutely allowed. However, do remember that all planning grants must be completely closed before you may return to the Council to apply for a follow-up grant that would implement the project that you had received funding to plan. Let's take a look at deadlines. We require that all applications be submitted at least 3 months before the start of your project. Then you'll receive notification from the Council on whether or not you've received funding 1 month before the start of your project. Your project can begin after Council notification has been received. To see what that looks like on a timeline, for example, if you would like your project to begin on June 1st, your application would need to be submitted to us by no later than March 1st. Then you would receive notification sometime around May 1st. This allows your organization 1 month to get the project up on its feet. Now let's go to our website so I can walk you through our actual application process. When you visit our website, you'll see at the top an option for grants. If you select Project Grants, that will take you to our Project Grants homepage. Here you'll find plenty of information, very similar to what will be covered today in the webinar. One of the most useful parts of this Grants Guidelines page is the glossary. In the glossary, you'll find definitions for all of the terms that we'll be discussing today. We encourage our applicants to, if they like, print out this glossary and keep it on hand as they complete their application. If we scroll back to the top of this page, I want to walk you through a few of the options and resources available on the left-hand side. The first one is the Contact Us option. If you decide that you'd like to speak with us about your application and process, or just go over some questions that you have about your proposal for your project, you can always meet with us by making an appointment on our Google Calendar. Appointments are typically 30 minutes and can be in person or over the phone. If you just have a brief question, you can also always email us. We also encourage everyone to sign up for Grant News. Grant News is the best way to stay up to date about information regarding upcoming grant projects or changes in our grants process. You can sign up right here on our website. The last thing I'd like to point out is the page where we list previously awarded grants. This can be a great way to find out what types of projects we're interested in supporting. This is also a great way of looking at our interactive map to see what other organizations in your area have received funding from the Council. So now we'll go into our application. You'll notice we've gone to How to Apply, and now we'll select Project Grants Online Form, and this will take us to the online application. For the purposes of this webinar, we'll be navigating the application in browse-only mode. When you are ready to officially begin, click I'm ready, start my application. Once you've officially begun, you'll receive a verification email containing a link to your application in progress. This allows you to save and revisit your work as you go. You can also click Prepare Your Attachments to see a list of additional attachments required for the online application. This first page is designed to collect basic information about your sponsoring organization, your project director, and your fiscal officer. Now, the project director does not need to be affiliated with the sponsoring organization. However, your fiscal officer does need to be affiliated. It's also important to remember that your fiscal officer and project director must be different people. At the bottom of each page of the online application, you'll see an option to print or save PDF if you'd like to have a hard copy. For now, let's continue. The next section of this application is the project narrative. We've broken the narrative down into several easy-to-answer, short-answer questions. You'll need to tell us the project title, a brief project description, information about what inspired this project and what your overall goals are for it. And we'll also need to know several pieces of logistical information, such as when your project is planned for, where it will be hosted, and what the cost for participants will be. This is not the overall cost of the grant, it is the individual cost to participants to attend. Another important thing to consider in this section is the description of your project team. For everyone on the project team, we'll need to know their basic qualifications and also the specific role that they'll be playing on this project. Now, you only have 300 words, so if you need to attach an additional document at the end of the application, I'll show you where to do that. On our budget page, you'll see that as you scroll down, a box follows you on the bottom right-hand side of the screen. This box will keep a running total of your grant request and your total match request to make sure that as you go along, these are at least a one-to-one match. In the first part of this budget form, we've created line items for your grant request. For each line item, you can enter the amount requested and a brief description of those expenses. You do not have to enter an amount for every one of these line items. If you're not requesting anything in that area, you can just leave the number blank. You don't have to enter a 0. If you're not sure what would constitute a certain line item, just hover over the question mark, and a detailed description will pop up. Now, as we scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that the matching funds section is identical. We've broken it down into cash match and in-kind match. Again, you'll enter a dollar amount and a brief description of that match. If you're not sure what constitutes cash or in-kind, again, just hover over the question mark and an explanation will pop out. The final part of the budget page is a contingency plan. This tells us what your organization plans to do if the matching funds specified are not received. The last page of our application is where you'll attach your supporting documents. It's important to remember that, though you can save and revisit your application as you go, your attachments will not be retained. When your application is completed and ready to submit, the last thing you should do before clicking the Submit button should be to upload your attachments to this page. We ask that each organization submit 2 financial documents, an IRS letter of determination, and either a CDP funder report or an institutional fact sheet. The CDP stands for the Cultural Data Project. This is an initiative that the Council is participating in, which seeks to gather information from arts and cultural organizations to build a case for continued support. If you'd like to learn more about the CDP, you can click on one of the links provided. To find our alternative form, the Institutional Fact Sheet, click on Prepare Your Attachments and follow the instructions provided. The Sample Program Materials section is where your organization can really individualize your application. You can attach materials that demonstrate who you are, what sort of projects you've done in the past, and any other materials you feel are pertinent to our picture of your organization's work. Finally, you'll need an authorizing official signature before hitting the Submit button. Remember, there is also always an option at the bottom of the page to print or save your application as a PDF. We encourage everyone to do this to keep a copy of your application for your own records. After you've submitted your application, you should automatically receive an email from the Council confirming that we've received it. If for any reason you don't receive that email, please do contact us and let us know as soon as possible.
Thank you so much for taking the time to walk through our grants programs today. Kate and I are always happy to answer your questions regarding grant applications or project ideas. You can always reach us at our shared email address, grants@nyhumanities.org, or at 212-233-1131. Best of luck, and we look forward to hearing from you soon.